Hi crafters, this is Raquel with Paints and Glitter, and today I'm coming to you with a very special video. And first I'm going to start by sharing with you one of the samples of what I made using the items that I picked up from CraftStash. And just to let you know, there will be a code that you can use in the description bar of my video so that you can get a little bit of a discount while you shop there. So beginning with this folder here, this 3D folder from Sizzix called Texture Fades, and the pattern is called Entangled. I went ahead and embossed some papers. To do that, you can use, of course, a different selection of papers. I went with mixed media paper. I spritzed the paper with a little bit of water and ran it through with that embossing folder into my machine, and you can get this gorgeous result here. And by the way, there are other options, so I just wanted to share with you. This is another one I'll be using in the future, but I went ahead and coupled this with the tag builder die set from Paper Discovery, which I also shared in that previous video. I used this tag piece, this one, I put them together, and then I used the little flower, which is the cherry blossom, and the leaves. And here is the result of what I made. So I'm super happy with that. In the background there, you see all of the texture that I was able to achieve with that 3D embossing folder that I then colored using Distress Oxide ink in Picked Raspberry, layered with Sunlit Sienna Nuvo pen, and that allowed me to get all that texture and shine. And I then coupled that pen together with the Matador red pen from Nuvo, and that's how I colored in this frame that I cut out using those Paper Discovery dies. Then on top of that, I did apply some embellishment mousse from Tonic Studios to get that little hint of green here and there. To color in the sakura flowers, which began as white paper, I also used that Picked Raspberry oxide ink just on the edges, and then the centers I was able to cut out using the die. And I also went ahead and added drops of Nuvo just to go ahead and add some dimension. And over here, I use Nuvo products to color in the inlay pieces, and that's how I got that intense color on those, as well as the delicate little drops that also gave me some added texture. And of course, I made that shaker by just applying acetate behind the tag and then adding my little sequins, and I use foam tape to adhere to the background. So if you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out to me, but this was a lot of fun. And then today I'm going to actually assemble a card with you. Today I'll be using this die set, the Garden Delight Trellis Frame die set from Paper Discovery, and I'll be using both of the panels, this piece here cut out twice, and then some of the little critters with the exception of the little mouse. This is what these dies look like. They're nice and large for a 5x7 card, and just to let you know, they do cut out the aperture in the center, and they layer beautifully. To show you how I decided to cut these out, I went ahead and used specialty card from Tonic Studios, and you can find this of course in the link below if it's still available from Tonic Studios, but I did go ahead and pick out these three colors. These are Rose Glacier, Inca Gold, and Petal Pink, and I'm going to share with you what that looks like. Here is that Petal Pink, and as you can tell, it picks up a bunch of holographic colors there very beautifully. Here is the Rose Glacier, and it's got a gorgeous texture. So these are going to layer one on top of the other, just like so. And then also using that Inca Gold, I cut out the centers of what will layer with the little cherry blossom or sakura flower, and it just picks up the light so beautifully. I have a selection of other Nuvo pens, and these are Clear Water, Cameo Pink, Pressed Olive, and I have Indigo Batik. So we'll see if we end up using all of those, but I've already gone ahead and cut out a panel that's going to go right behind these two. And as you can see here, there's a little bit of green. What I did was that I took my piece of paper, I measured it out to measure the same as these two, and then I grabbed a little bit of oxide ink in Cracked Pistachio with my little brush, and I literally just flipped this over and then just brushed on a tiny bit of that ink right there in the center, and that was as easy as pie. So now what I want to do is, using the other die, this is what that die looks like. I cut out 2 pieces of paper, and this is 110-pound cardstock, and this is going to allow me to create a diorama card using this set. I've gone ahead and folded the paper, so you essentially are making an accordion fold. And here you see it's a valley fold, and another valley fold. It's as easy as that. And I can apply double-sided adhesive to both edges, and then we're going to start constructing this. But I'm going to share with you the other pieces that I intend to add to this card. I've gone ahead and cut everything out already, and I did use some of that holographic paper, that really pretty pink paper, but I've also cut some out in just white watercolor cardstock, and that way when I apply my color, it's going to work well with the paper and not get overly saturated. So that's really important if you're going to be adding watercolor to anything that you make. Now behind here, if you've noticed, I do have a media mat that's from Tim Holtz, and that's available at CRAFTSTASH.com as well as Tonic Studios at the moment. So if you needed to pick that up, you can go ahead and use that. It's wonderful for different types of mediums, and also it is heat resistant, but you don't want to use it with alcohol markers because it will stain it. It is removable from the background as well. It's nice and sticky, but it only sticks to the glass. So I went ahead and cut mine down, and it's going to come in handy for this type of project. Go ahead and match these up, and then apply some pressure, and then I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side to get both of my pieces adhered. Same thing here. Okay, so then I'll apply my pressure, and you can use a bone folder to reinforce that if you need to. But now it's going to look a little bit like this, and then we're going to flip it over because this is the area where we want to make sure that all of our pieces match up. Now, I didn't mention this earlier, but if you see this, it does have 3 rows here of the that pretty design, okay? And then at the bottom, if you notice, it only has like 2. So you want to make sure that you aim this correctly onto your background here when you go to apply it. Now, you may be wondering, what would you do with this accordion fold? What I've done is that I've cut down pieces. So these are going to measure 2 by 4 3/4. Make it a lot easier. And there we go. And of course, they don't have to be straight on the top, but that's also up to you. I'm going to center it here. What I want to do here is add a little bit of color just back on the back of this. Let it drop a little bit. I don't want to use it with full strength because I don't want this to be too dark, but I can see how this is going to apply. Of course, I can water it down if need be, but I'm going to start by applying just a little bit of that color, just like so, and I'm not going to be terribly careful either, because I'm also going to use that ink on the leaves that I had mentioned. And I did cut those out using the same die set. I think they're so pretty. I'm sorry, these came from the tag die set. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up that same color here and just color these in. And that's it for that color. I think maybe I'll use up whatever's left there. And as you can tell here, I have my little dragonfly, so I'm going to let that drop down, and I'm going to just color this in. Now, mind you, this is going to dry a little bit lighter, and then because this has some little edges that you can see here, on those edges it's going to look a little bit darker. Now, if you're wondering how I was able to use the die to cut out this little dragonfly with all those pieces, without all of those pieces falling out, my trick was that I used double-sided adhesive. I placed it on my paper on the back. I cut out my little dragonfly 2 times. I peeled it off of that background and I sandwiched them together. So this is the same die cut twice, and because it had double-sided adhesive, then those little pieces didn't fall out. And that's just a little technique that you can learn to go ahead and use the entire die without having to worry about those pieces being lost. So if this technique is new to you, leave me a thumbs up. Let me know what you think about it, because I love sharing those little tips and tricks so that you can expand your library of crafty techniques. And it's fun to share, of course. So those 2 little guys are going to be that color. Ones that I cut out with the specialty cardstock. So you can see here, I went ahead and took advantage of that little leftover piece that cut out of the middle. And what I want to do is I'm going to add blue onto this as well, because I'm going to have that pink. And then that way I create a bit of a monochromatic look on these by way of having the butterflies and the dragonflies in this similar colors. So just using that, keeping it simple. And it's almost like a grayish blue. That's going to go on the border here, just like so. And then I'm going to go back with the other blue pen. And as you can see there, because it's a watercolor, it's just going to blend nicely. And then I'm going to carry it all the way down like so. If you feel like it's too dark, of course, you can take a paper towel and dab it. That's something that you can do. And if you see that, you just get a little bit of a wash there. Okay. So that's always an option. And it just gives you that subtle color. Now, you can definitely go back, as I had done before, with the same die and then layer it on top. And to get your little texture there, you can use a brush. Now, I'll be using this brush here. And I'm just going to use a little bit of walnut stain oxide ink. And in fact, I'm going to clean it off on my paper towel first, because I want the tiniest little bit of that. And then I'm just going to pounce this right on top. Just kind of bouncing it, because I don't want a whole lot of color. And there we are. It's nice and subtle, but I still get my little bit of shadow there in text. So because I have this in my hand, I'm just going to go ahead and use it on the little body of the squirrel here. Okay, just like that. It's going to help those little bits show up a little bit more, the little details. Okay, and then I'm going to also use the same brush here, the blue. I'm going to just dip into these other colors, and of course it's going to just blend together. And this doesn't have to be too specific. It is just a wash, if you will. And I like the discovery of different colors when I'm watercoloring and that sort of thing. I just, blending is just something that I really enjoy, I guess is what I should say. Now, you can definitely aim to have it all one color, or go lighter, go darker, however you like, whatever makes you happy. What I do is actually add water first. So I'm just using this brush here that's got a little bit of ink on it, but not too much. And this is watercolor paper, so it's going to be able to take on quite a bit of water without it falling apart. And now that I've got that bit of water on it, now I'm going to go ahead and grab the Cameo Pink pen and just start dropping a little bit of water here and there. And what I can do here is add a bit of lighter color, just in case it's seen. I'm not even sure that we'll be able to see this through here, but I'm grabbing some cracked pistachio, and I'm just going to rub this gently on here. It's going to match the background a bit, but that's okay. I'm just going to add this here, just to have a little bit of color, like it's a little bit of a path almost. Okay. And I have some peeled paint. I'm going to grab the same brush and I'm just going to go around the edges here. Just like so. Again, I don't know how much of this is going to actually be seen because this is going to be on top. But let's see what happens. I'm just layering this right on top. Okay, I think that's going to be sufficient. So that's enough of coloring. Now I'm going to build my card. I can add my little critters that are going to be part of this scene. So I think I'm going to go up halfway. Yes, just about halfway up. Then I'm going to add my little squirrel. And again, this is going to have this here. Okay. I'm going to add him there. Then I'm going to add my second piece here. But instead of adding it right on top, I'm going to fold in that second piece of paper. Okay. And this is what's going to create that dimension. I'm going to hold that until it dries. Okay. On this layer here, I can decide whether or not I want to add some leaves, which I think will look really pretty. I'm going to add my little leaves here. It's like a little forest floor. And add my second one over here. It just creates interest. And layer them up as you feel, however you like. Okay, so I've got that. To have this just low enough that you can see that other little flower as well. And then just press down, just like that. My little hedgehog that I had colored, so he can be kind of peeking out of this side. I'll put glue right here, add my little leaf. Of this one, I can add another little layer to make it stand out. That beautiful paper. Okay, and I can go ahead and lay this on top now. I'm going to now apply the top panel, so I'm just going to hold this as I feel more comfortable and go ahead and press onto that edge on both sides there. just like that. And this kind of closes off that little seam, but of course you can add as many leaves and flowers as you like. It just so happens I had double-sided adhesive on both of these pieces, and don't think I had noticed that, but that's okay. Just going to aim at that corner first, and then at the bottom. Okay, and then just kind of press that edge. Make sure it meets perfectly, just like so. Here's the result of what I've made. As you can see, there's lots of glimmer that is caught by that paper, that gorgeous paper, and all I did was just a little bit of coloring and some layering as you saw me assemble this. And I did go back in with a small pen, and you can do this of course anytime that you have little critters and that sort of thing. I used a Cricut pen, and in this case the color is tawny, and I went back because it's a light brown and I added the little details to the squirrel and the hedgehog just so it wouldn't get kind of lost there. But that's completely optional. It really depends on your personal taste, but this has been a lot of fun to play around with. And of course I keep getting ideas as I look at this as to other versions that of course I could create. I truly hope that you have enjoyed this tutorial. Please feel free to leave me a comment. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up if there's anything that you've taken from this video that has been useful to you. And as I always say, I hope that you can be inspired and be blessed. And I thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to use my coupon GLITTER15 for 15% off of your purchase of exclusive Craft Stash products. Bye-bye. See you in my next video. I did go back with Nuvo drops and added some more shine and glimmer and texture. So on the centers of the sakura flowers, on the center of the eyes of the little guys, and then a tiny bit of glitter drops on the little dragonfly and butterfly there. So that is how I finished off my card. I just couldn't resist. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. Be inspired and be blessed. Bye-bye.